Okay, next question. What do you think your opponent's weaknesses are?
I think it's mostly qualifications. And I don't want to badmouth her in any way, shape, or form. I give anybody credit who wants to serve the town. And of course, she is currently serving on the Board of Finance. But again, you really don't know how difficult this job is until you're in it. And this is a job that requires a deep management skill set. It's not the kind of thing that you can just step in to, even if you have a little bit of business background. It's you're going to be heading up labor negotiations. You're going to be heading up contract signings. You're going to be getting deep into the weeds in health insurance, liability insurance, pensions and other retirement plans, enterprise funds. Public utilities is a whole separate world. That probably takes 35 to 40% of my time as it is right now, which is not reflected in the job description that exists for the first selectman in the town charter. It's not. It just all the town charter says is the first selectman will be the chair of the Public Utilities Commission. Yeah, it's way more than that. Your name is actually in the state computer as the owner of the system. And if you remember when there's a disaster like what occurred in Flint, Michigan last year, and we've seen this unfold, people can go to jail if they don't do the job right. And we really are not structured to do that. This is something that I had to spend a lot of time doing. So I think the voters really need to take a long, hard look at both of our qualifications and look at the background and look at the training, because it's going to be important.
Can I ask you, does everything fall on your shoulders alone, though, or do you have a team of people that you would be working with on all of these problems?
We have obviously we have department heads, but I can tell you that when I took office in '09, one of the things that I discovered, that we all discovered, was that the utility department was almost $3 million in the red. And I want to just pause and describe that. People say, well, okay, well, what does that mean? That means that our general fund, which is supposed to be our cushion, and you're supposed to have a minimum of 10% of your operating budget unreserved. So, for emergencies, if there was a hurricane that blew everything down and no revenue was coming in because people stopped paying their taxes and so on and so forth, you're supposed to have as a bare minimum 10% equal to your operating fund. So back in 2009, that would have been like a $63 million budget. So we should have had a minimum of $6.3 million in the bank. Almost half of it wasn't there. It was an IOU because the utility department was draining money out of there because it was losing somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 per year.
Is that allowed, though? Is that what
Yeah,
the general fund? Okay.
Exactly right. But
Okay.
Here's the thing. Nobody knew it. The Board of Finance didn't know it.
Wait a minute, who approved the use of the funds?
It was approved by the person in this office. Because
Somebody before you?
Yes, because the utility department is not under the jurisdiction of the town government. It's like an organ of the town government, but it operates independently. It doesn't get any tax money at all. It operates only on rates that the customers pay. But that rate money goes into the general fund, and it's kind of segregated as rate money. Like it's accounted for separately. But if there's not enough money in the utility department to pay its bills, it just starts pulling money from the general fund. And the Board of Finance can't approve it or disapprove it. It was just happening. And I can tell you that that year that we came across this situation and said, oh my gosh, there's $2.9 million not in the general fund. I remember the Board of Finance members were shocked. They didn't know it.
But the Board of Selectmen approved it, you're saying?
No.
So how can they use the funds?
Public Utilities Commission.
Okay.
So my point is, so we have department heads who should have been looking at that and were probably, back in those days, bringing this issue up to the first selectman's office. But my guess is that there was a reluctance to address the rates because nobody wants to be responsible for a rate increase.
I'm just wondering how-
Just how they don't want to be responsible for tax
Okay,
increases.
I'm just wondering how someone can use the general funds at all without someone approving it.
That's-
So you said the last selectman, first selectman,
You know what,
approve that.
I don't even think it's that cut and dried. The utility department continues to pay its bills. It doesn't, those bills are approved by the Public Utilities Commission, which is the Board of Selectmen plus 2 appointees. But aside from, so I don't think there was any single individual. The Public Utilities Commission was continuing to pay the bills that it has to pay. Like we have to pay about $1 million in wastewater disposal fees to the city of Danbury. When a water main breaks, you have to fix it. When a $500,000 pump system fails, you have to fix it. So these bills were just getting paid, and nobody was paying attention to where that money was coming from. So
but
it
how do
was-
they pay them out of the general fund on their own, is what my basic question is.
That's what the Public Utilities Commission can do.
Oh, okay.
That's what the
That clarified it,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what the Utilities Department can do.
Okay.
So, just to wrap up that point, there was debt owed by the Sewer Department and the Water Department. The Sewer Department debt has been completely satisfied, and all that money is back in the general fund. And we are down to, out of 1.9 million owed to the general fund by the Water Department, we're down to about 100,000 or 200,000. So we've been making sure the system is in the black and paying back what it owes to the taxpayers of Bethel. And that will be completely paid off. It probably is like within a few months of being completely done.
Okay,